Hi, everybody. My name is Vishnu. I'm the host of this podcast. We have Justin here. He's the founder of Ether. Ether does measurements on experimental marketing. Welcome, Justin. How are you?
Hi, Vishnu. Nice to meet you, and thanks for having me on. Doing good today. Can't complain.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We can just dive right in. What do you do? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about your background, and we can go from there.
Yeah, so I'll rewind back early on in my career, most of it actually. I've been building online audiences for entertainment brands and the music space, the film and television space, and the art world as well. And really, just like around the pandemic time, I was brought into the experiential space, and I re we were building these massive audiences in the digital side and being able to track everything they were doing and understand the consumer behavior across the whole board there.
Mhm.
So when I got into like offline events and experiential, it blew my mind. Like I was in meetings, I was like, "Hey, do you want to measure this experience?" This was like $500,000 to $1 million project, and they were like, "No, we're good." And I almost fell out of my chair just losing it over this. So that's where Ether comes from, is understanding consumer behavior and how it shifts throughout an activation for brands.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. How do you actually do that? Let's say there's an event happening. Um, what are the KPIs you're measuring? What are the tools that you use to measure those KPIs, first of all? And then how do you is it tying back to revenues, tying back to impressions? What is the process behind that?
Yeah. So where it kind of starts is impressions, and that's kind of a standard measurement that's happening now. We notice a lot of our competitors have like sensors, or they'll have signups, things like that, to understand, hey, who showed up, what they did, what dwell time was, and we call these presence metrics. Those are kind of
Mhm.
foundational to understanding. Step one, was somebody there? How long did they spend their time there? The
Mhm.
next step is looking into their behavior. So what we do is we integrate like either sensors, cameras, or interactive experiences to measure how the behavior happens throughout that experience. And
Mhm.
then in the end, we process all that data, and then we transfer it into those signals into an understanding of, okay, are they a buyer? Did we build confidence in the customer? Did we earn their trust? And are they ready to make a purchase from there?
Mhm.
Those
Okay.
are kind of the key goal endpoints that we're doing. Ultimately, we're helping experiential brands extend their budgets. So when you go into a CFO meeting, you're not
Mhm.
going empty-handed. You have a bunch of defensible data that says, "Hey, we actually shifted consumer behavior, which is going to lead to more sales."
Mhm.
There's so many aspects of attribution in marketing that, whether I saw a billboard or I saw a commercial on TV or was watching saw an influencer on social media, all of those are they're tied together, and everybody has their own influence in the attribution pipeline. What we want to do is have enough metrics and defensible data so consumers, or so marketers, can go in and extend their budgets and get longer activations to drive more value for the brands.
Is it is it specifically events that are happening live or in person, or is it also digital? Do you focus on both, or how does it work?
Yeah. So we've done both. Right now, the whole world is really focused on in-person events. I think the AI coming in, the wave of AI coming in and just kind of dominating the internet and taking over, people are starting to push back,
Mhm.
touch grass. Everybody wants to get out and really enjoy these actual in-person moments. So we're really focused in on how we capture that. But over the years, we've done some really good campaigns. We're purely digital as well. So a good example was we worked with Anheuser-Busch and Budweiser with Salt XC and Animali, both great agencies. And we did this Budweiser campaign where people could submit excuses for, or they would send NHL hockey tickets to their friends. So I'd send you, Vishnu, let's go see the Ottawa Senators. I know you're in Ottawa. And if you were like, I don't really feel it tonight, you could submit an excuse to say, I can't make it because of
Mhm.
X. we got excuses like, oh, my cat's sick or my dog ate my homework, kind of funny excuses. And we took
Hmm.
all those excuses and we plastered them in billboards all across the city to allow
Okay.
people to call their friends out. And
Hmm.
we've really looked at like how that behavior online led to, okay, people are actually building this community and feeling of belonging when they can integrate that connection between the brand and their friends and call out their
Hmm.
friends from there.
Hmm.
Really like detailed behavior moments from there. So that's like a good digital example. We also go offline as well. So we did a campaign with TurboTax and the team. We had an activation that had like a bunch of games integrated into it, physical games integrated into it, and we sent it to Southern US colleges. Each game had its own
Hmm.
individual touch point that allowed us to track how consumer behavior shifted and how these students, that because we're at colleges, these students became they learned how to do their taxes, became more confident in doing their taxes and becoming a TurboTax customer. So
Hmm.
one of the touch points we had was a digital interactive screen where you would look at a messy dorm room or an office space and you have to go and find the tax write-offs like an I Spy, Where's Waldo experience. And
Hmm.
we noticed as people went through the activation at all these different touch points, their confidence built up over time and they started to understand, okay, I can actually do my own taxes with TurboTax. So
Hmm.
right before tax season, along the way we were understanding who those customers were. We built these psychographic and demographic profiles for of each one of those customers while they were playing those games, and then right before tax season we sent them a game that was tailored to them. So we found out they're mostly like 18 to 25-year-olds. They're really into sports, things like
Hmm.
that, and they use that data. We use that data to build out, okay, we're going to give them a basketball game that ties into the accuracy of your taxes. So
Hmm.
right before
Hmm.
tax season, they got a basketball game that led them into the subscription page for TurboTax. So it was a last minute fun little game that drove attribution all the way to the subscription page for the brand.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, for doing taxes, for myself at least, the process of it actually seems quite simple. It's just the myself getting into it is the hard part where it seems like a daunting task where if once you get into it, just plug in the numbers into the right place and it takes care of itself.
Yeah.
Especially if you have the right software. And I feel like having that game supplement that barrier of entry, and having them just interact with the product in a fun way, it makes sense. It's absolutely fascinating. Cool, cool. Let's go back and talk about what brought you to this. What brought you to marketing? What brought you to measurements and marketing? Tell me about, I guess, your early career.
Yeah. So, like right out of university, before I even graduated, I was brought into this publicly traded company
Hmm.
called Interactive Media. Uh, and we used to, or entertainment media, sorry. And what we would do is we would buy technologies and then we would partner with celebrities and entertainment properties to help bring it to market.
Hmm.
So we were building these audiences based on the celebrity status and helping build these products up and the reputation. So like one of the things we had was Ortsbo. Ran this event with the band Kiss and did this
Hmm.
online experience where we called it Live and Global, where it was a full chat where we can have immediate instant translation with the superstars. So it was Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley from Kiss.
Hmm.
Um, we got a Guinness World Record from that for the most nationalities in an online chat. We had a lot of engagement, built these great audiences that were super engaged. And really, I was like, that was kind of like the foundation of like, oh, wow, there's something cool here. Post that, we looked at the measurement and like, okay, we had all these people coming in. Obviously, like the Guinness World Record was looking at our metrics and understanding who was coming through.
Hmm.
But going beyond it was like, okay, how do we monetize this? And how do we get this audience that we engaged and have available into conversion? So we actually built this social feed aggregator that allowed everybody who kind of attended to get more content, and then it fed them into a like merchandise website so we
Hmm.
can sell all the Kiss merchandise, shirts, whatever their thing is. They got
Hmm.
coffins
Hmm.
and condoms, and they got you coming covered whether you're coming or going. But yeah, they're that whole process kind of like opened my eyes, and then following that, I started a music company, and we were building an audience around that, where we had our own platform for music fans to watch
Mhm.
video content of their favorite bands in an intimate studio setting. And building that audience really let me like understand like, okay, like there's a lot of value in the metrics side, because we were like running ads and we were understanding, okay, like what how that kind of grows from there. And then yeah, it's kind of been a consistent thing. And then I've also like I have a virtual reality company. I've done a lot of augmented reality stuff early on, and I was like, how do
Mhm.
there's a lot of value in this immersive technology and these experiences, and there's a lot of data coming out of it, but we haven't nobody's understand how to capture that and really identify what that opportunity was. Then when I was in the XM space, I was working with Salt XC. I helped build their digital department from the ground up, and they gave me the opportunity. I saw it just like, okay, we're building these activations. We did a lot online during the pandemic, obviously, because real life in person wasn't happening. So we shifted that whole understanding we got through the pandemic into, okay, how do we connect this offline and online?
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
eventually I kind of got to the point where it was like, there's a lot more to dig into this to understand, okay, how do we actually understand someone's behavior? What makes them make a purchase? How do we build that emotional connection with them? How do we measure that emotional connection? And that's where Ether came together. So we've spent the past couple of years really diving deep into what we've already done, what I already did at Salt, but bringing it to the next level on a measurement perspective and building
Mhm.
these moments and understanding how to measure them.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. Very interesting. Um, do you have any specific projects that come to mind that have been tricky or quite interesting that you can share?
I think one of my favorites was we were working with RBC. They were sponsoring a bunch. They were sponsoring one music festival, and previous years they hadn't had any understanding. Nobody really went to their booth. You're at a music festival, nobody wants to go talk to the bank.
Mhm.
So how do we connect? On one, understand how people use the music festival grounds and who they are and build that connection. But on top of that, how do we engage them, get them to come back to the booth and learn
Mhm.
more about the bank? So from there, we found a Pokemon Go style like activation that we could
Mhm.
integrate into the whole music festival. So we built this whole augmented reality experience. You check
Wow.
in, you log in, and then you have all these micro games throughout the whole music festival. And at
Wow.
each micro game, we were like understanding who the customer with, building these relationships with the customer, and they're having
Mhm.
these fun interactive moments where we can go, okay, Vishnu checked in here and then he went over here, and we could really track how he was using the whole music festival grounds. And
Mhm.
then the fun part was when you played these games, you would get points, and then you
Mhm.
build up your points, kind of like Chuck E. Cheese or Dave and Buster's, and then you go back to your to the booth to exchange for prizes. So we were just feeding people into the booth through this whole
Wow.
experience.
That's
Um,
fascinating.
my favorite part was we were kind of manipulating the audience a bit, where we could like drop pins and you'd see like hundreds of kids start running towards where that pin in game was, and it was kind of cool to have that effect on a big audience at a music festival.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the value that came out of it, like we extended over multiple activations, multiple festivals, and for multiple years it did really well from there.
That's crazy. That's great. It hits the right target demographic as well. Um, I remember Scotiabank came to my campus day one. I set up an account. I'm still with them. So you can it's one of those things. You catch them young and the the game aspect of it, it's most people young people like that best. So I get it. Yes, it's quite interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
no, some of our partners have done like massive studies, like spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on research on understanding it, what point do you actually capture that audience for a loyal from a loyalty standpoint and have them become like lifelong advocates of your brand?
Hmm.
And it's like younger, like the evolving like age of like your 10 to 13 kind of thing. And I mean, if you look at anything you're buying nowadays, 10 to 13 was kind of this. Um, so every all the brands that got me when I was like 10 to 13 years old, I still wear regularly. A big one
Right.
is New Era hats. Like
Hmm.
I've worn them the exact same type of hats, whether I change teams all the time. Like I got Jays and Yankees and all the different teams, but consistently, I've loved the New Era
Hmm.
brand, and I will probably have them for the rest of my life. I constantly
Yeah,
buy.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. Um, yeah, let's talk about the music industry that you're part of, because that's quite fascinating to me. I don't have much experience there, but what similarities do you see between the music industry and traditional marketing or traditional media, I would say, and put it in the perspective of maybe marketing.
Yeah, so I mean, music industry was a passion of mine. I had an artist management company. We built like our own record label. We built this platform that was for viewing music videos, kind of like our own Netflix. And they're, I mean, it's building audience building. The perk that you have from music side is you have built-in celebrity. So when you're working with these artists and they have a tool as well, so music is a good tool for building emotional connections with people, and like most cases you're gonna enjoy and fall in love with the artist because of the that emotional connection you're building to the music, and that's
Mhm.
what marketing is all about. It's building that emotional connection with consumers. A lot harder to, you don't have like music or some sort of art form other than like a branded experience to really connect with those customers and build that emotional connection. So music has a bit of a leg up, but they also have a lot of other issues in the underbelly of the way the industry works.
Yeah.
uh, but there's a lot of parallels, and I have friends from the music industry that I worked with, and a lot of them have moved over to marketing, and that's usually the next
Hmm.
step in what the career path. um, the thing, music's a really cool industry to work in, a lot of fun, a lot of excitement, but that's not always sustainable for everyone. Some people do it and they stay in and have lifelong careers in music, but it's usually like the younger generation, younger people that are the backbone of the industry. And after 5-10 years in the industry, they kind of they need to pay their bills, they want to have kids, they want to buy a house, and you got to move on to find another opportunity. Now I think marketing is very similar, where like a lot of the backbone is the younger generation from a creative perspective, and there's a good tie between the two in that sense. But there's a lot more growth opportunities as well in marketing. But they're very similar. It's not like finance where you're like, I start in the beginning, I work my way up, and then I have a full long career kind of pathed out for me. Or there's many other kind of aspects to a business that that role kind of stays consistent, but marketing and is very similar in that sense.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me about your entrepreneurial journey. About Ether specifically. How has that been for you, and where are you looking to go next?
Yeah, so Ether's my um, fourth company I've started over the past my career, and maybe fifth. Um, I started making my own company in high school. I used to design websites for bands and stuff like that, and then kind of moved on from there. Started an artist management company. That kind of led me into the music space more, and that eventually got like an AccuHire scenario,
Mhm.
and then started ArtGate, my virtual reality platform that we have. And then now I run ArtGate, Ether, and I have a dog walking company as well that my wife
Okay.
runs.
Okay.
But Ether, yeah, it's interesting because it started off as just me as a consultant. So I was consulting for a few agencies, helping them build out projects for their clients, starting to integrate measurement and understand where it can fit in the spectrum of things. And
Mhm,
then though it was always one-off experiences. We're doing like one here, one there. It was kind of started to it was inconsistent revenue. It was really
mhm,
difficult to manage that as a business. So that's where I said, okay, what is going to be my solution to having consistent revenue, stop with these one-off experiences? And the solution was to build a platform that had like ongoing value, and that's where Ether came from there. um I didn't want to take the traditional like raise money route and like go for a pre-seed, seed, series A. I've been
mhm,
through Y Combinator's startup school. With Artgate we were in Y Space accelerator program. Been through all of them, and raising the VC money, the money VC money raising kind of path has always been just seems awful to me. You lose a lot of freedom. You got to continue to like build your
going
company
towards exit,
to
yeah.
around what the VC has and for driving towards an exit. So with Ether, when I started, it was like, okay, this company is gonna has a goal, and we are going to exit. We're gonna sell, but we're gonna do it on our own, and we're gonna bootstrap along the way.
Mhm,
Uh, and that's made it harder, but I haven't had to report to anyone. I have a board of directors that I do report to just to keep myself accountable.
mhm,
But it's advisors, coaches, and people who are really helping me along the way, to drive this company forward.
mhm,
um, so backpedaling to like I was starting from the consulting side. 2024 is when we started Ether, so still a fresh new startup. But the consulting side, I kind of all the work that happened with that consulting trailed off, and things started to get really quiet. So
mhm,
I said 2025 we're going to put our head down and we're going to build this platform. So I built up enough runway before to kind of allow us to continue to work through it throughout the year. And then by the end of 2025, we have a rocking solution for our clients. And then 2026, the beginning, it was still really quiet, but we're starting to get some traction, having the right conversations and the right meetings. So now it's been okay, we're getting things rolling. We're starting to see good traction, and we're getting like consistent clients now, and things are coming together. And now I've seen this a few times with my other companies, and yeah, it's great to finally have like just have a lot more vision on where we need to go because I've been through it multiple times,
mhm,
and lots of ups and downs, lots of moments where I'm like, how am I going to pay people? Okay, let's go find a loan. Let's go find like
mhm.
something to kind of keep things afloat, and we're surviving and like keep it moving along, which is really great.
Yeah, yeah, that's the fun of entrepreneurship, right? You learn everything from every business that you've built. Yeah,
Mhm.
I can relate to that for sure. The difficulty of getting your first customer, and then I would say it is very very you see this very often that you're moving from consulting to building a product based on what you've consulted and then growing that because you already have that clientele. You can use that clientele for the product that you're building. If you want to describe a little bit further, deeper, maybe as to how the platform itself works. I know we talked about, sensors and tracking tools. If you want to go deeper into how that works, that'd be super helpful.
Yeah, so without getting too technical and detailed on it, basically we have three tiers of measurement tools. So there's one interactive experiences, like short, quick, we call them glimmers, where it's a tool to capture a glimmer of information from the ether.
Cool.
Um,
Hmm.
and they're like quick swipe based, taking surveys to a next level because nobody answers a survey correctly. Like even is the toilet clean? You still kind of fluff around it. But
Hmm.
if we can give you a moment where it has a little bit of time pressure, you have a little bit of less like thinking, more reacting, you're going to get a lot more honest answers. So that's where these glimmers come in to capture things from there. And right now, the platform, it allows you to create basic glimmers, but we're moving it to the next stage with a lot of AI integrations where you can use the LLM integrations to go, hey, build me a glimmer that does X, and it'll build it out for you. And then like, okay, change the color here, change the logo here, or made the logo bigger, kind of like a Lovable or Base 44 kind of experience. So you get this play
Hmm.
builder for you. The next phase is like full interactive experiences where we have AI or APIs available that you can plug into through our dashboard. And we've got over 250 connections where you can send data into like different CDPs and different CRMs or data platforms, wherever you want to send it. And then that allows you to just connect full interactive experiences. We've also got a library of over 150 games that we can plug into it, kind of take one off the shelf, put a new fresh coat of paint on it, and
Hmm.
then launch it from there while tracking that behavior data from the experience. And
Hmm.
then finally, we have all of our sensors as an opportunity. So they're Wi-Fi mesh sensors that tap into the Wi-Fi systems that are around, or it puts out a Wi-Fi signal, and it can track people where their position, their pose, and where they're looking. Now we're working on it now to also pull out biometrics from it. So we've got like face scanning tech that can understand your emotion from there. We and face facial emotion or facial expressions is not really an emotional connection, but it's a signal that we can recognize and use. Additionally, like body posture, so if somebody's walking around all confident and happy, or their hands are up all the time, we're looking at that and understanding the behavior from there to go,
Hmm.
hey, that person's having a great time versus like the guy that's got his shoulders down, his head down the whole time, isn't having a good time.
Hmm.
And then yeah, fine. That's kind of like where we're at there, and then we can use that to track impressions and dwell time, things like that as well. Um, so yeah, multitude of sensors that plug into our system. You get your dashboard, or the way we're kind of shifting it is like we want it to be a dynamic report builder almost, because everybody has a different question that they're trying to get answered. We're just kind of helping capture all that data to give you that answer. So
Hmm.
you the next step from like an interface is like just send Ether an email, and then you're going to get that report back from our AI from there.
Pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. Who is buying this? From my perspective, I see that, anybody who has events going on, any booth that you walk into, they're probably a potential buyer. Do you see anybody outside of, let's say, stalls, anybody outside of events buying this? Who will be your ideal customer in that sense?
Yeah, so our ideal customer obviously is like B2C brands looking to build an emotional connection with their brand, with their customers, and understand the value of their brand activations that they're doing. Um, but really, our ICP is the agencies. So if we go direct to brands, we're going to get one or two kind of brands out of it. Where if we go to one or two agencies, each one of them has at least five brands that they're working with, and up to hundreds of brands that they're working with. So it's a better channel for us. Now, from operational standpoint, we would prefer to work with directly to brands because it's just cutting out a lot of layers of bureaucracy and making it a lot easier. But we work with agencies mostly, and they're all great. And they kind of allow us to do what we need to do, and everything's been great working with them so far. But we're also looking at different areas too, like the sports space. So we're working with some companies that do like sports and fan engagement, and they're really great opportunities in that space. As we mentioned, music is a great opportunity for us. Understanding, like, if a band can know, hey, how many of their fans were like right up front and like really into the concert, versus like everybody else who showed up that's kind of floating around, and understand their behavior at the concert or where they are from there, it really will amplify that experience. So the ultimate goal is to track behavior on offline experiences, and that's the ultimate offering from Ether.
Awesome. Awesome. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. Um, if you want to share where people can find you, please feel free to.
Find me mostly on LinkedIn. It's a great channel to connect with me. Just Justin O'Hare, O'Heir on LinkedIn. And then our website, intoether.co. Lots of great information on how we work. And really, we're focused, we call it emotion intelligence, is our
Uh,
product and what we're offering to experiential marketers.
Beautiful, beautiful. Awesome, awesome. It was a pleasure speaking with you, Justin, and let's keep in touch.
All right. Thanks,
Awesome.
Vishnu.
Take care. See ya.
Have a good one.